Right, okay, let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to, well, a pretty ambitious deep dive today.
It really is. We're looking at this enormous collection of observations, really.
Exactly. A huge stack of sources, all from, the complete works of William Shakespeare. Not just one play, not just the sonnets, but sort of bits from all over.
That's right. It's quite a mix. You get the really personal stuff, but then also these big political dramas. There's a lot to cover, but so rich.
And our job here, well, our mission for you listening, is basically to be your guides through all this.
Yeah, we want to pull out the most fascinating bits, the insights into, being human that Shakespeare captured so well.
Things like love, time, who we are, power, even just, well, human foolishness. We're aiming to find those key nuggets for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stuff that maybe surprisingly still feels incredibly relevant. You read it and think, wow, that still hits home.
So where do we even begin with this mountain of material? I was thinking maybe the sonnets. I feel like the most direct window into sort of the inner world.
I think that's a great starting point, yeah. The sonnets give you this really intense personal voice. It's grappling with feelings in a way that the plays often show through action instead.
Okay, so take Sonnet 27. The speaker is physically exhausted, right? Ready to sleep.
But but the mind just won't stop. He talks about this journey in my head.
Right, even when it's dark.
Yeah, thoughts of the person he loves just keep his eyes open, drooping eyelids open wide. That phrase, a journey in my head, it's just, yeah, instantly relatable, how thoughts can just consume you.
Curly.
And he describes the beloved as a kind of, well, a jewel hung in ghastly night in his mind. Makes the darkness beautiful, but also means there's no real quiet for him. Day or night, just restless affection.
And that kind of intensity, focusing so much on one person, it can get pretty painful, can't it? Like Sonnet 40 really jumps out, that theme of betrayal.
Oh, definitely. It starts with that really bitter line, take all my loves, my love, yea, take them all.
It sounds like just pure agony.
It does. But then almost immediately, Shakespeare flips it. The speaker suddenly offers this strange forgiveness. I do forgive thy robbery, gentle thief.
Gentle thief? That's odd.
It is. And then the really complicated part comes in this idea that, well, if the beloved is just receiving the love the speaker gives, then maybe you can't blame them.
Yeah.
If for my love thou my love receivest. It's this weird logic where the hurt from love's betrayal is somehow different, maybe worse, than hurt from simple hate. Quite a thought.
And the self-sacrificing thing, it goes even further, almost alarmingly so. In Sonnet 88, he says he'll fight upon thy side against myself.
Yeah, even if the beloved has forsworn, broken promises, it's all about giving the beloved vantage.
Vantage, meaning like an advantage.
Exactly, an edge, a better position. The speaker is basically saying, I know my own flaws and I'll highlight them, I'll argue against myself and take all the blame, bear all wrong just so you look good for your right. It's devotion that actually harms the self. Really intense.
Wow. That intensity there, it also allows for looking back at past hurts in a strange way. Sonnet 120 mentions the beloved's past cruelty, but says, kind of surprisingly, that you were once unkind, befriends me now.
Befriends me now. Yeah, how does that work? How can past unkindness be a friend?
It sounds contradictory.
It's complicated, right? The idea seems to be that because the beloved hurt him in the past, it now gives the speaker permission, almost, to kind of accept his own mistakes, to, under my transgression, bow when he messes up.
So like, you did it to me, so it's okay if I slip up now.
Sort of. It's like their shared history of hurting each other, these mutual wrongs, somehow balance out, they ransom each other.
Yeah.
Like a debt paid by acknowledging they've both been flawed. It's a really unique bond forged through shared hurt.
Love definitely messes with your perception, doesn't it? Sonnet 148 asks that right out. What eyes hath love put in my head, which have no correspondence with true sight?
Exactly. Love's eye, Shakespeare says, is not so true as all men's. The speaker knows they're doting on someone the rest of the world doesn't see as conventionally attractive or good.
And that line about tears.
Oh yeah, that love uses tears to keep the speaker blind, lest eyes, while seeing thy foul faults, should find. It's like love is actively deceiving you, stopping you from seeing the bad stuff. Pretty stark.
Moving on from love a bit, the sonnets really hit hard on time and, well, death, mortality. Sonnet 65 is powerful there.
It really is. It lists all of these incredibly strong things: brass, nor stone, nor earth, nor boundless sea, even rocks impregnable and gates of steel.
Yeah, the toughest stuff imaginable.
And pits them against sad mortality. And mortality just wins every time.
It makes beauty seem so incredibly fragile. No stronger than a flower, how can beauty possibly survive time's destructive power, its wrackful siege? The whole poem feels heavy with that fear.
But then, then there's that little flicker, that miracle. Right. The idea that in black ink, my love may still shine bright. The written word is presented as maybe the only thing that can cheat time and keep something alive.
Thinking about time. Sonnet 59 has this really interesting idea. It asks if maybe there be nothing new.
Yeah, our brains just beguiled,
Yeah.
fooled into thinking our inventions or today's beauty are actually original.
He wishes he could look back like centuries, 500 courses of the sun.
To see if beauty itself, this composed wonder of your frame, has actually changed, or if it's all just cycles repeating, revolution be the same. Is anything really new? It's a deep question.
That connects in a way to Sonnet 127, the Dark Lady one. It talks directly about changing tastes in beauty.
Right, saying now black is beauty's successive heir. Dark features are in vogue, and traditional fairness, beauty is slandered, maybe seen as fake or overly made up.
And those lines about her eyes.
Her raven black eyes look like mourners, he says, mourning for that older idea of beauty that's been profaned. It's a sharp comment on how beauty standards are, constructed. They change.
And Sonnet 96 touches on how charisma, or maybe just being admired, can make faults seem like graces.
Yeah, like a cheap basis jewel suddenly seems valuable because a throned queen wears it. Perception changes everything.
Yet there's a warning there, too, isn't there?
The big one. How many innocent people, lambs, could this charming, stern wolf betray if they can make bad things look good? It's about the danger of being taken in by surface appeal. Charm masking deception.
The sonnets capture other feelings so vividly, too, like absence in Sonnet 97. Summer feels like winter.
How like a winter hath my absence been. Even nature seems depressed. The very birds are mute. The leaves look pale. It really shows how one person missing can just drain the color from your whole world.
And then there's that really intense self-doubt in Sonnet 72, asking the beloved to just forget me quiet after death.
Yeah, rather than lie about his merits, it's this crushing humility. He feels shamed by that which I bring forth, ashamed of his own work or worth. He thinks the beloved would be embarrassed to love things nothing worth if she praised him falsely after he's gone. Heartbreaking, really.
And just quickly, Sonnet 125 rejects all the showy stuff, right? The ceremonies, the big monuments.
Exactly. Forget the outward honoring, carrying the canopy, building things for eternity. He dismisses all that.
What does he value instead?
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Inner devotion. He calls it an oblation, poor but free, like a simple, honest offering. A mutual render, only me for thee, just a pure exchange of their true selves, no performance needed. A powerful statement against superficiality.
Wow. Okay, so that's a really powerful look inside the mind, love, fear, time, identity. So how do these internal things play out when Shakespeare puts them on stage?
Right.
In the plays, with society, politics, relationships.
Well, that's where it gets really dynamic, isn't it? These inner truths start colliding with the messy outside world.
Yeah.
And you see characters grappling with the same themes, but often from totally different viewpoints.
It's like with wisdom. In All's Well That Ends Well, the Countess gives her son Bertram some very straightforward, practical advice.
Yeah, that great bit. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Handle your enemies with power, but maybe don't always use it. Keep your friends close. Under thine own life's key, it's solid moral guidance for life.
But then contrast that with Polonius and Hamlet. His method for finding things out is, well,
elaborate is one word for it. He tells his servant to use a bait of falsehood to catch the corp of truth. His whole philosophy is, by indirections, find directions out.
all very sneaky and roundabout. And his speeches reflect that too, right? He gets lost.
Totally. Always asking what was I about to say.
Yeah.
He embodies this sort of self-important, manipulative wisdom that's more about seeming clever than finding truth.
Yeah.
And, well, it doesn't end well for him.
Then in As You Like It, you get that great clash between the court fool, Touchstone, and the shepherd, Corin.
Right. Touchstone is all cynical, sophisticated, courtly wit, constantly mocking Corin's simple life.
But Corin has this quiet dignity, doesn't he? His description of his life is so grounded.
A true laborer. I earn that I eat. Oh, no man hate. Content with my harm. His wisdom isn't flashy. It comes from experience, integrity, just being content. It's a powerful contrast.
And even Touchstone, the official fool, has that moment of clarity talking to William.
Oh, yeah. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. Even the jester sees that true wisdom involves knowing your own limits, arrogance versus self-awareness.
Let's talk about identity and reputation. Back in All's Well, the king praises Bertram's dead father so highly, calls him wise, humble, someone who served his time well.
And contrasts him with young lords now, calling them goers backward, basically saying they lack substance.
That must put immense pressure on Bertram, trying to live up to that reputation.
Absolutely. And then you have LeFou just tearing down Perrault's reputation, calling him a past-saving slave, this supposed gallant militarist who's actually a total coward,
Well,
all surface, no depth.
the play also shows how reputation clashes with what people actually want, like Bertram hating his forced marriage.
Right, the rumor spreads it was against his liking. He calls Helena his detested wife and believes a young man married is a man that's marred. Social pressure, reputation, it drives his actions, makes him flee.
And then you have the Comedy of Errors. The whole play is basically about mistaken identity,
Total chaos. Twin masters, twin servants, nobody knows who's who.
leading to some really desperate moments like Adriana pleading with her husband, who isn't her husband, not to leave her.
Yeah, she says, "Do not tear away thyself from me.
Yeah.
As easy mayest thou fall, a drop of water in the breaking gulf, as take from me thyself and not me too." She literally feels like they are one person, inseparable. Her identity is tied to his.
And amidst all that serious confusion, you get that completely bizarre scene.
Oh, Dromio mapping the kitchen maid's body like a globe, finding countries in her.
Ireland in her buttocks by the bogs, Scotland barren in her hand.
France in her forehead, making war against her hair. It's utterly hilarious, but it comes from that total disorientation of not knowing who anyone is.
And the external confusion leads to internal breakdown, right?
Yeah.
Accusations of madness.
Exactly. The whole conflict spins out from mistaken identity, messing with everyone's heads and relationships. It only gets resolved when everyone's true identity is finally revealed. Clarity returns.
Cymbeline also really digs into identity, deception, reputation.
Definitely. You've got Iacomo's cynical bet against Imogen's faithfulness. He talks about her and Posthumus's ring-like objects, strange foul light upon neighboring pawns, calling them frail and the other casual, just dismissing their value and fidelity.
And then there's Cloten. His self-image is completely out of whack with reality.
Utterly deluded. He genuinely thinks the lines of my body are as well drawn as his Posthumus's, no less young, more strong, above him in birth. This massive ego fuels his awful behavior.
And Imogen herself has to disguise her identity pretending to be a man.
Right, another layer of hidden identity. The whole play is navigating disguises, lies, false accusations. It all culminates in that amazing final scene where everything comes out, who Belarius is, the lost princes, Imogen, Posthumus, identities restored, guided by prophecy.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly to relationships. Love, family. We see so many kinds in the plays. We mentioned Bertram's disdain for Helena in All's Well.
Yeah, him fleeing to war just to get away from his detested wife.
But Helena's side of that is this incredible loyalty and determination, right? Pursuing him, using tricks to win him back. It's a very persistent, if complicated, form of love.
Totally contrasts with his rejection. Then you have Antony and Cleopatra, maybe the most famous description of pure charisma ever, Enobarbus on Cleopatra.
Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. Just stunning lines.
And that incredible allure is constantly pulling Antony away from his political duties, his marriage to Octavia. It's that classic conflict, passionate love versus responsibility.
In Cleopatra's End, choosing death by asp.
Being marble constant. It's her final, powerful assertion of her identity and loyalty, not to Rome, but to Antony, to her love.
And As You Like It, you get some really touching loyalty, too, like between Orlando and old Adam.
Oh yeah, Adam following his young master into exile, utterly exhausted but devoted. Dear master, I can go no further. And Orlando's care for him in return. It's beautiful.
But you also get the pain of unrequited love. Phoebe falling for Rosalind in disguise.
And being so cruel to poor Silvius, who adores her, calling him a peevish boy.
While Silvius just accepts his suffering.
Pretty much. He calls his situation of poverty of grace, feels totally worthless, but he's happy just to glean the broken ears, get whatever scraps of attention Phoebe throws his way. It's painful devotion.
Cymbeline, again, focuses on that bond between Posthumus and Imogen, right? Tested by everything imaginable.
Distance, Iacomo's lies. The queen trying to poison Imogen. And their poor servant Pisanio, stuck in the middle.
Torn between loyalties.
Exactly. Loyalty to his master Posthumus. Loyalty to his mistress Imogen. Navigating impossible demands and secrets. The whole play works towards restoring those broken family bonds through truth and forgiveness.
And Hamlet, of course. Grief and family breakdown are just central.
Hamlet's sorrow for his father. I shall not look upon his like again, and the chaos from his mother's or hasty marriage. It fuels everything.
You also see those strong family ties in Laertes' family, though it ends tragically.
Yeah, the bond between Laertes, Ophelia, and Polonius. Protective, maybe even suffocating sometimes, but undeniably strong and ultimately shattered.
And just a quick mention for Henry IV, Part 1, that surprisingly tender moment between Mortimer and his Welsh wife.
Right. Despite the language barrier, he says, I understand thy looks. I understand thy kisses. It's a lovely reminder that deep connection can exist beyond just words.
Okay, finally, let's touch on the bigger picture stuff. Conflict, war, politics in the plays. Coriolanus kicks off with Menenius using that fable.
The fable of the belly and the members.
Yeah.
Trying to tell the citizens they need the ruling class, that society's interconnected.
But the citizens aren't buying it, are they? They have real complaints.
Absolutely. They talk about piercing statutes daily to chain up and restrain the poor. It shows the real tension, the class conflict, the feeling of being unfairly governed.
And Volumnia, Coriolanus' mother, has this incredibly fierce view of war.
Terrifyingly fierce. She finds her son's battle-scarred face, his bloody brow, look not lovelier than Hector's forehead when it spit forth blood. Her pride is all about military victory, glory and violence. It's intense.
And you get the flip side from the servants arguing about war versus peace.
Yeah, that cynical, down-to-earth debate. Is war exciting, sprightly, waking, while peace is just boring, a very apoplexy lethargy?
Even suggesting peace leads to infidelity because people are idle.
A great maker of cuckolds. It's a dark, funny, common perspective on the social side effects of war and peace.
In Hamlet, all that military preparation in Denmark, the cannons, the shipwrights, it has a clear political reason.
Right. Young Fortinbras of Norway wanting revenge, wanting back the lands his father lost. International politics drive the whole atmosphere of readiness for war.
And the political solution is to redirect Fortinbras towards Poland, away from Denmark.
Exactly. Showing how diplomacy, past conflicts, strategic moves shape national actions. And then Fortinbras just walks in at the end after all the personal tragedy and takes over. Political power just carries on.
Henry I, Part 1, gives us a detailed look at a rebellion plotting to divide England. Hotspur, Mortimer, Glendower.
All driven by different motives, ambition, genuine grievances against the king. You see Glendower's confidence, maybe arrogance.
Hotspur's impatience. We'll fight with him tonight, trying to spin his father's absence.
While Vernon urges caution, and Douglas calls any hesitation fear. You see the whole mixed strategy, personality clashes, courage, internal conflict that fuels a rebellion.
And Cymbeline has that moment of pure national defiance against Rome.
Yeah. Refusing to pay tribute. Britain is a world by itself, and we will nothing pay for wearing our own noses. Such pride. Defended by rocks, unscalable.
And they prepare for war to back it up.
Led by Cymbeline and the Queen. It highlights that theme of national identity, sovereignty, and being willing to fight for it.
Wow. Okay, we have covered so much ground, from like the inner turmoil of one person in love to armies clashing and kingdoms plotting. How does all this connect? What are the universal threads here?
Well, what really stands out is just how universal these struggles are, right? The messiness of love, the internal pain from the sonnets, the betrayals and complex family stuff in the plays, that's constant.
And the fight against time, decay, mortality.
It's everywhere. In the sonnets, fear of loss. In the plays where characters worry about legacy or just how fleeting power and beauty are.
Absolutely. And that gap between how things look and how they really are, appearance versus reality, identity versus perception.
It's huge. Love's false eyes, mistaken identities causing chaos, characters like Cloten who are completely delusional about themselves, paroles whose all show. It runs through everything.
And relationships. We see every kind of navigation, don't we? Loyalty, sacrifice, betrayal, family ties, just simple, painful misunderstandings.
Such a range. And underpinning so much of it are those dynamics of power, conflict, how societies are run.
Yeah, whether it's big wars and rebellions or just authority within a family, it's always there, shaping lives.
Ultimately, I think Shakespeare just captures the whole spectrum. Profound wisdom, deep loyalty, but also absolute folly, self-deception, cruelty. He shows us ourselves, warts and all the contradictions.
He just had this incredible ability to see and articulate the core truths of being human. It's uncanny.
He really did. So just to quickly wrap up where we've been, We went from restless minds in the sonnets to twisty court plots, confusing mix-ups on city streets, all the way to fierce arguments in military camps.
And hopefully for you listening, this deep dive has maybe offered a clearer window into Shakespeare's genius for capturing human complexity. Hopefully you found some insights that still resonate.
Absolutely. And maybe one last thought to leave you with, something to chew on from all these sources. Think about how Shakespeare shows us, again and again, that the biggest battles aren't always fought out there.
You mean?
Well, whether it's fighting against time, like in Sonnet 65, or fighting for political power, like in Henry IV or Coriolanus, the real battleground, the most intense conflict, often seems to be inside, within the human heart, the human mind.
Like the restless thoughts in Sonnet 27. Or Hamlet's internal paralysis, Antony torn between love and duty.
Yeah, exactly. That inner landscape, that's often where the most fundamental human dramas really play out.
That is a powerful thought. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.